I think that we can, unless some of the board members want to add something to all of this, we can pass on to Q&A, question and answers, and so that everybody is free to express a question if they do. Anything else the board members would like to add to the reasoning so far?
Ross, Julio, give thanks. I just wanted to say, give thanks for all the word sound that's been shared. Just a few things in the chat just to respond. I'm responding to some individuals, but also just want to make that response public so that you're aware of kind of where these things are going. The Sistren, Ayata Wise, Tafari mentioned a marketplace, and Sister, I'll connect with you directly, but that is something that we've reasoned on. There are some considerations as a nonprofit for how we sell things and gain money from them, but it is possible. And I agree that there are other ones that would be willing to donate goods for that. And we've done that on a local level. Like we have a craft market. We've done craft markets at festivals and things where people have donated everything that has gone into those. So all the money goes to elders, which is nice. So how to take that into a digital mode or something that is more available is an interesting question. I think one that we're interested in exploring. So give thanks for that. And then the next brethren, Rasya Shama, and offered some support, some video support too. So give thanks for that offer, and we'll definitely follow up with the eye on that. I think any skills and talents ones can bring can always be put to good use. And so, give thanks for clean hands and pure heart, and we'll link up. Give thanks.
So now, anybody has any questions for the board members of WISEMIND Power Collective? We have Ras Scott, Ras Flaco, Brother Mike B. We have Ras Elliot Led, and Ayman. So we just give thanks for the chat messages are coming in. I see I would also offer video services. That is great. That is great. Or if it's no questions, but is observation and is sharing, this is your time. Yes, Brother Nick, please.
My question, so I've been aware of the Word Sound Power Collective for a long time, and committed funds and helped in some of the campaigns. What I'm curious about, though, I felt like it seems like this is not a criticism, but what I've seen is this is mostly people in the West and in Europe committing funds to help elders in Jamaica. Well, when I go around here, I see a local need, and I wonder about the fulfilling of the local need. Like I was in Seattle on Wednesday, and I saw two of the Rastafari elders that I knew I hadn't seen in 8 years, but I knew when I lived in the city, and they're living in the streets now in tents. And it's not the first time I've seen our Rastafari elders here in my own environment end up living on the streets. So I just wonder about that. How is this mission working to serve the local need on a more, I guess, intimate level? Like that's what I'm curious about. Or how can this mission do that?
I could attempt to answer that and then open it up to the board. Give thanks, Nick, and give thanks for being here. I think there's a couple things. I mean, one, I'd love to know who those elders are because we live in a similar area. I think a lot of it comes down to like access to resources, and part of the reason why we've really focus the works on elders in Jamaica and Ethiopia was because of the lack of access to resources. But there is precedent for helping elders in the US on several occasions. And I think, you know, if there are elders that we can identify that are struggling, basically we bring those elders to the board and say, this is the elder, this is their age, this is their need. And we either can try to find resources locally to help them or try to raise funds. So I think that's not outside of the focus of the collective to do that. I also think, you know, what I hope the Word Sound Power Collective does is it inspires all the communities wherever you are to identify what are the elders in our area and how can we work together to help them. So in this case, you know, I'd love to reason with you, Brother Nick, and talk to other ones that are here in the area who know these elders to say, hey, what can we do to help as a community? So my hope is that it inspires that, but still Word Sound Power Collective can be an avenue to help more locally if those needs are presented to us. I hope that helps.
I'd like to add something on that. Why? Because of what I was trying to speak to as far as the nonprofit status of the collective. For example, Seattle is a place that has much greater nonprofit support for people in need just in general. And the collective is in a position to have a nonprofit to nonprofit connection with these organizations on behalf of those in need. So while it may be difficult for the actual person in need to act on their own behalf, the collective can play a supporting role by helping to administer to the needy person. Jamaica is a place with little or no social safety net. That's why, in part, apart from the history of the movement, that so much attention has been paid by the collective on Jamaica.
I will say additionally, something that I think about a lot is that because of the links that the collective has, we tend to focus our efforts where those links are, right? And to date, the Word Sound Power Collective has not sent funds to really any other islands. And outside of Jamaica, I can't think of an example where we have. Definitely Ethiopia and some other countries in Africa. And that's something I'm very interested in as well is, you know, how can we identify elder advisors in some other islands and start to identify elders that are in need in those areas as well. And you know, rally those communities together to offer a way to focus those funds. So if anyone has any thoughts or links there, I'd be interested in hearing that either today or via email. Thanks.
I think what I want to see is like a street army that's not just concerned about promoting their music careers and selling weed, but a street army that's like giving people shelter and clothes and food, like the things Food Not Bombs has done or Habitat for Humanity has done. And that's what I want to see us doing to live the creed, is like going out there and getting our hands dirty. And I mean, I spend a lot of my time in Seattle or in Mombasa, Kenya, and both places I see this is very different, especially for Rastafari, very different world reality. But the elder Rastas in both places end up in this struggle for food, clothing, and shelter. And I think about, like, what about communal housing? What about a tabernacle with dwellings? And, you know, we have to actually build those things by, like, you know, purchasing land and setting up an indefinite trust and like putting bricks on top of bricks. And so it's well, I think we all have these visions that are much more than we can achieve, but we have to have them to aspire. But that's my thoughts.
Yes, I have more fire, you know. We must become bigger than we have been, more courageous, greater in spirit, larger in outlook. Like that's my mantra. And so I love the big ideas because I think that's how we manifest those things. But I'd love for Ross Flacco or Ross Elliott or others to respond to that, of like these more sustainable ideas of how we kind of make ones more self-sufficient.
Majesty,
Aile.
blessed,
Greetings, Ras. Greetings, Ras.
glory and strength. Yes, I to one and all, blessed love, you know. Give thanks. Yeah, man, it's Archangel tuning in same way. Yes, it was interesting because I was vibes in the same as in terms of locally, particularly as it regards to Guyana, Georgetown, Guyana, you know. Yes. And I representing the Guyana Rastafari Council as well as Bridget in the Naibingi house from Guyana there. So yeah, and I was vibes in the same thing because the reason came up in Guyana regarding care for the elders. And it's something that's very important, and you know what I mean, within the creed that I must feel full. So the reasoning fell short in Guyana, yet and still it is I that is bringing it forward again, same way, not just within this council, but as well as the council in Guyana as well too. And the fact remains is that within the Bingi grounds, we have a considerable amount of acreage that's been blessed to I through the grace of His Majesty and through reasonings with the local government in Guyana as well too. There's accessible over 800 acres of land in Guyana on the Bingi grounds that we are in control of right now. And we actually recently started building communal housing for brethren and brethren who may forward on the land and, you know what I mean, wish to be there for amount of time. But the reasoning has been about setting up an elder establishment, an elder care facility, particularly on the land. And this reasoning pertains to, I guess, the assistance really in, you know what I mean, establishing and furthering that reasoning and commitment really to, you know what I mean, not just in Guyana as well, but as the brethren say locally, whether it be Seattle, whether it be Mombasa, whether it be, you know what I mean, Ethiopia. Yeah, because now we have access, as well as the Rastafari Council, we have access to land. We have these things available, but we doesn't have the material, you know what I mean, the capital, the material and the capital. We have the manhood, the manpower. We have certain resources there, wood, sand, and certain things, you know. So these are the things that are important again in you know, addressing global, you know what I mean, community of elders, you know what I mean, that's in need of care, you know what I mean, medically and levitically, you know what I mean, housing, food and clothing and shelter, generally speaking. So these are the things again that we are addressing globally, and these things are there for I and I. Again, there's land there, there's manpower, there's, you know what I mean, the beginning of, again, the communal residents, and not just for local ones that come up to the land, but again, for international ones and ones to come up. And the reasoning could even be further to say, well, you know, on a global heights, as one's needed, wherever it may be, because again, it's there right now in Guyana, and there's actually another organ set to be established within the Caribbean region that will establish a reasoning with the United Nations to address and further these same reasonings here regarding our elders and our community generally. So these things are there, whether it can be that ones and ones wish to retire in Guyana, because again, the land, the space is there. We have over 83,000 square miles. You know what I mean? And only about 30% of that is developed. And again, I is in control of over 800 acres of that, you know? That is I. So, and I welcome any thoughts, any reasoning that again can further development again of the local elder care facility down there. The communal residence is just about, will probably complete in the next 3 to 6 months. So, you know what I mean, it would be welcome, you know what I mean, for delegations and any other, you know what I mean, cross communications to manifest. So these are things that are manifesting throughout. So, and I welcome, you know what I mean, the Word Sound Power Collective input and strength within further development of these resources that we have available right now. Yes, give thanks. Aye, Selassie.
Majesty, blessings. Give thanks, Ras. Give thanks, Archangel. Give thanks for
Rastafari.
the testimony. Very important, you know, because that show I and I that, you know, these are common topics that need to be reasoned about, and they are common goals. So the
Rastafari.
brethren showing I and I that, you know, the family in Guyana has been forwarding, you know, has been progressing towards that aim. And the residential structure, wow, that's very, very important, you know. And already, you know, starting from having the land, that's a massive step forward, you know, because sometimes that is what can be an obstacle, you know, in order for the development of the structures, buildings, or farming take place. So from you have the land, you're already, you know, a way forward to the work. And
Majesty.
yes, so it's a blessing to see that, you know, different sides of the world, same problems, same issues, same aims, and same objectives. So that is all great, you know, that's all great. So
Rastafari.
give thanks for the testimony, Archangel. We have then, okay, Ras Flaco, then we're going to take a few questions that they are in the chat room, brothers and sisters that would like to speak. Ras Flaco, please, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to give an update. Because the history of Jamaica shows that the Coral Garden atrocity is one of the worst things that ever happened to Rastafari in Jamaica. And it's good that the government has accepted what they have done and they have decided to pay reparations. But the organization that they are paying it through, the Rastafari Carglass Benevolent Society, is not transparent. And there are elders now in a care facility, and we see an opening and we see no documentation of it. It is like a club they are running. And the late Prime Minister Alexander Busterman said, bringing all Rasta dead or alive. See, so the government have money in the trust fund up to 102 million, and they are creating a care facility. It should be made public, and it should be a public viewing, and their documents should be made known to the Rastafari collective. There's also, we learned that there's also funds for the Rastafari community. Only a hearsay, no documentation. So it's sad that Rastafari are managing Rastafari affairs and there's no transparency, there's no documentation, there's no viewing of the property. Also learn that there's 50 acres of land as far as the reparations gesture. We have not seen that. So how can we resolve all these matters when the Rastafari in charge of things keep it like a club? You know, and many efforts have been made for the comfort so we can know what's actually going on. I only see pictures of one of my Asians in a room with 2 beds. We don't know how they will eat. We don't know what is provided, whether they'll be getting ital or what, and if they have visitors or there'll be a little farm that they could, you know, grow foods for themselves. There's nothing coming. So that's a big concern of mine, knowing that the government have accepted what they have done and decided to pay up. But there's no transparency from those who they are paying to. It's a registered Rastafari organization. I think it's very sad. We don't know how much as a collective we could write to them to find some transparency. or some accountability, because some of those same ancients who were so non-poor collective have financed through in their years when there was no car gardens. They end up in that care facility. And it's our responsibility also to see how well they are doing. So it's just an observation I want to bring forward with what is going on in Jamaica on that light. Give thanks.
Give thanks, Rastafari, very important, very important. So we have Nina, which raised the hand to ask a question, I think from a few minutes now. Greetings, greetings.
Yes, greetings,
Greetings, sister,
in the name of the
please.
Most High. You hear me?
Very well. Go ahead.
Yes, yes. Blessed love to each and every one. I, woman Nina Roots from the Lions, from the north, from Finland. And I, woman has personally been in contact with Word Sound and Power Collective and sending some funds. Also, I have been collecting here some funds to this farm project. I community